This new Ace leader has been very strong tournament-wise as soon as it came out. It has really been on top tier along with Emu in OP13, but how does it work in EB03 meta and below? Well, let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Mabi here, and today I'm going to be giving you my personal deck profile for this Portgas Ace deck that came out in OP13. However, this one's going to be made for EB03 and below, but don't worry, no new EB03 cards have been included. We've basically upgraded, revamped, and shuffled some things around since the last time we made this deck a couple of months ago. If you guys just want to see that deck, there's a link down below into the comments of the deck profiles, as well as all the duels revolving this leader, and of course the gameplay around it so you can see it in action. Alright, so the game plan here of this deck is very similar to the last one I had, except that first one it was mostly revolving around 90% Whitebeard cards, while this one, yeah, you still have some Whitebeard searching cards, but now you have the inclusion of that Garp searcher, which really works with Ace, Sabo, and Luffy in order to just grab a lot more different late game cards that you're just gonna need. So let's go ahead and talk about everything in the video breakdown here. If you just want this deck profile though, I recommend pausing the video, head on over to the website Mabi TCG.com. There you can get this deck and every other deck I cover in image and text format. Let's go ahead and start with the leader itself. This is Ace from OP13, 6 special with 3 life, red and blue leader, Whitebeard Pirates here. On your 2 abilities, on your opponent's attack once per turn, and really quick before we jump into it, we are using proxies today. This allows us to print out every single card that we need so we can do testing and testing and testing before they even come out, and of course it makes for really good IRL gameplay videos for you guys. Alright, so the first ability is when your opponent attacks once per turn, trash 1 card from your hand, give up to one of your opponent's leader or characters minus 2000 power during this battle. This is an insanely good ability. It makes it so you don't need that many cards that allow you to draw trash. You know, a lot of those 0 cost counter events that say trash a card for 3000, you don't necessarily need those in here. It just gives you a lot more power if you just have too many late game stuff. It really helps because your leader is only 3 life. So if your opponent matches you with 6000, at least if you have a brick, you can get rid of it for minus 2000. And it's good too. It's not just your leader. It's one of your characters as well. And it's negative 2000 power, which doesn't really work that much. It's basically just you getting a 2k counter. The second ability, with 1 dot attached once per turn, when you receive damage or your character with 6000 base power or more is KO'd, you get to draw 1 card. Now, specifically means damage. That means if something says take the hand to your life, take the top card from your life to your hand. If it says trash it, that doesn't matter. It either has to say specifically damage on a card, or you get hit with a basic attack. That's how it works. So, and also when 6000 base power or more, meaning if you somehow increase your character by 1000 plus or something on your opponent's turn and it gets KO'd, it can't be the printed card, has to be 6000 base, and then you get to draw a card. So in the other deck I made, I try to make it so you always have a Dawn on your leader. It's not that important in this particular deck. You have mid to late game cards that allow you to add stuff, but we got rid of some early game stuff for just more consistency late game. Alright, so if you guys are enjoying the video so far, please make sure to like and sub. It really helps out the channel. It's free to do so. You guys are amazing. Let me know in the comments which leaders you want me to cover next. And like I said, if you don't know what I covered, the website shows you exactly what I did already. The first card here is going to be Garp from OP13, 1/2/1, 1 ability on play. If your leader is Luffy, Sabo, or Ace, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal 1 card that costs 3 or more and add it to your deck, then the rest go to the bottom of your deck. In this particular deck, you have like 30 to 40 cards that are actually 3 costs or higher, so this is really good for the deck. And then you put it to the bottom. This is amazing because it's only 1 cost less than like a really crazy archetypal card, but damn, this is just a super crazy good for the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next is going to be Ezo from ST22. So we have a total of 8 searching cards in here. This one is 1, 0, and 1. On play, we're going to be looking at the top 5 cards. Then you're going to be grabbing 1. Let me fix the focus here. And that's pretty good as it was, right? Okay, look at the top 5. Grab any Whitebeard pirate cards that hasn't included other than Ezo, then the rest go to the bottom. That's a really good ability. In this deck, I think there's around 29 Whitebeard character cards, including these ones, so maybe a little bit less, right? Because you can't grab these. So when your opponent attacks, you may place this character in the trash. You get to draw one, then trash one to the bottom of your deck. Trash one. Place it to the bottom. So, 2 things to note with Ezo, really good to play early, and if you don't have a good turn 2 or 3, this one will really help you sift and go out. Otherwise, if you don't need to use the ability, I recommend just don't willy-nilly activate it, because towards the late game, you're going to be having the 6 cost of Jozus, which allows you to bounce a character back to your hand in order to bounce one of their characters back to their hand. So, the Garp, you have no choice, you can leave it there, which is great, but if you have an Ezo and no Garp, just keep that in mind. If you draw an Ezo or already have an Ezo, keep this there if you have some good, future turns to keep it as a bounce target. Next is going to be Otama. Speaking of bounce targets, OP13 102 on play. If you have 3 or less live cards, you get to draw 2 and trash 1. This is actually a really decent card if you want to play it on turn 1 or turn 2 if you just don't have anything. Your leader obviously starts with 3 lives, so this can activate ASAP. The bad thing about this 2k counter, it's Land of Wano, can't be searched by Ezo, cannot be searched by Garp. However, same thing with the Ezo and Garp. Leave it on the board if you have a Jozu ready to go in an upcoming turn. Otherwise, yeah, it's really tough to play. It's really tough to whether or not you want to play this. Just, keep that in mind. Okay, next is going to be Whitey Bay, another of your 2Ks, ST22 112. So on play during your turn, you can reveal 2 cards in your hand that have a Whitebeard Pious. Like I said, you have like 39 or 29 Whitebeard cards. Up to one of your leaders with the Whitebeard types gets plus 2,000 power till the end of the turn. The only reason you want to use this is primarily if you're going to be going for game, otherwise, or destroy a really high target character that that 1 extra 1,000 is going to be good and destroy them. So searchable by Ezo, not Garp, but most likely it's just going to stay in your hands at 2k. It's not the worst, which is why we're only running 2. Next is, if I give into the Force, there'll be no point to my life from OP13. This one costs 1, 2 abilities here. So basically, you may rest one of your Dawn cards, making it so 2 total. If you have 1 or less live cards, which at the time you want to play this, you're probably going to be 1 or less. When your leader attacks, your opponent cannot activate a blocker, making this a pseudo Diable Jambe card to help you just destroy and go through and end the game. And has a counter up to one of your leaders gains 3,000 power. This is just good in general. No trigger by, blue. This specific deck's not even a heavy trigger deck, so don't worry. One of these. Now, believe it or not, we're skipping straight to a 4 cost from these. I usually always like to put, 2, 3. But here, we're just going straight to 4. Because this deck is just all about these cards in general. So, Marco from PRBO2, 460, first brick character. So this has an 8 blocker for 6. It's whatever. Your leader's already 6. But the kicker here is this ability, which is on KO, draw 2 cards. So this is the first card in the deck that can actually activate your leader's second ability, which is with 1 Dawn. When your character gets KO'd, you get to draw a card. So with 6,000 power, right? So if you, obviously if your opponent attacks, this gets KO'd 2. If you have the Dawn on your leader, it's going to be 3. That's insanely good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Searched by the Garp and the Ezo. Speaking of cards that are searched by the Ezo and stuff, we have Atmos here. This is in a tech of 1. So this is from OP08 451. So on play, reveal 2 cards that are Whitebeard in your hand. Then you get to bounce back a 4 cost to the owner's hand. This is actually a really decent card, especially in today's climate, where a lot of the protection is a card that can't be KO'd, a card that can't be rested anymore. You can still at least bounce something back to their hand, and then boom, there you go. Yeah, it doesn't get around, can't be removed, can't be trashed, etc., but it's really good in general. So that's why you want to run at least 1 or 2 in here just before that early game removal to help you live a little bit longer. Because yeah, if you get swarmed, this deck does get a lot of cards, which is its strengths towards the late game, but towards the early and mid game, maybe they can rush you down a little more, and this can help alleviate some of that sort of aggression there, or at least slow them down if they're playing around your speed. Next is Pudding from OP06 441. On play, your opponent returns all cards and then shuffles their deck. Then your opponent draws 5. As usual, you want to, the best case scenario, use this when your opponent has 7 or more cards. Maybe towards the late game, they have 5 cards anyway, but you know they've been hoarding a bunch of 2Ks. You want to use this right then and there. I found the highest use case here is always when I go seconds and I have this card and I'm attacking on my very first turn. Sometimes the opponent doesn't play anything, or even if they did, I attack them with Ace. They're like, I don't want to block that out, it's too early. They take a hit, they go up to 7 or 8 cards, then you play the pudding. That is usually the only way I play this. Towards the late game, you usually want to just play your late game cards unless they have an absurd amount of cards in their hand. Let's say you're playing another Ace, is another card to play crazy late game. However, once again, I've only found myself usually playing this on turn 2. If I go second, it's really good to just mess with your opponent. What's good about this is searchable by the GARP. Next up, your 2Ks. We have Joseph from OP02 442 with 1 Dawn attached. If you have 2 or less life and your leader is Whitebeard, this character gains rush. Mostly it's going to be here for just the searchable 2K. If you want, you can remove a couple of these and you can put in the 1 cost 2K Thatch red card. So that Thatch will help you actually activate and help you with your Gold D Roger if you want to. However, I just wasn't able to print them out really quick. But basically, I just wanted to mention that. But in my testing, I've only ever used the Josie for a 2K. The good thing that this has over that Thatch, which I talked about, is it's searchable by both of your searching cards in the deck. But yeah, it's like a very, very tiny amount of rush. It can happen if you need it, but usually it's probably just been like just a 2K in the hand. Moving over to our 5 cost, Yamato, OP13 561. If your leader is 3 or less life, draw 2, and you don't have to trash. You just simply draw 2, which is amazing. Then give a Rested Dawn card to your leader. This is super good. As soon as you play this on curve or not curve, you can give the 1 Dawn to your leader, attack for 7,000 or 8,000 if you play off curve 6 Dawn, and then boom, you have the Dawn on ready to go. If they KO something that was on a turn previously there, that's 6,000 power or less. But yeah, basically that's what it's here for. Just draw power and a future turn attacking, and it can be searched by your GARP. Really good card. It's going to be used in this deck more often than not with other decks that, don't start with 3 life, because if your opponent, you really don't want to lose life even when you get to this curve. So this one will help you really play those. Time for a really important card. This is Josie from EB03 671. On play, bounce back one of your characters and bounce back a 6 cost. This is basically just your turn 2 after at most if you want to keep bouncing back stuff from your opponent's end. And as I mentioned, you can bring back Whitey Bay if you ended up playing it. Definitely bring back the Otama if you played it. And then Izo if you left it on there. And then of course your GARP. Because you're usually not going to just add 3 Dawn and attacking unless you really have a bad hand. You always want to play on curve. Give your opponent, give your leader Dawn, etc. for this. So running a bunch of these. Now time for another card, which I really like in the deck. Yamato from EB02 670 with 1 effect here. Activate made once per turn. If your leader has Land of Wano or is Ace, give a Rested Dawn card to your leader, then this character gains rush. So, once again, great searchable by GARP. This has 7,000 rush on the turn it comes in, and every turn after that, you can keep on attacking. So you can keep on attacking 7,000, and you can keep giving a Rested Dawn card to your leader. So as soon as you get this out, always a Dawn card. Next turn with your like 9 or 8, whatever it costs, and then 10, 9 turn, you can keep adding more and more and more. It allows you to play on curve while still giving that Dawn card to your leader, so you can keep using its ability. So this is just amazing. It's a great card for the deck. We're running 2 of these. Next is a new inclusion that I saw a lot of tournament decks were running, so I decided let's try it out. This is Uda from ST23 642. So if your leader, if you have a character with 10,000 or more on the board, give this card in your hand -4, making it a 2. This is a blocking card for 4,000. So in my other deck, I was using Vistas, which were 1 cost bricks in your hand, but they're blocker Whitebeards. And people are running these ones and no Vistas simply because it's a nice 2K. And yeah, it's only a 4,000, but it's not the worst to get it down because you have a lot of late game cards that are 10,000 plus, right? So that's why this is in here. You have a good decent amount of late cards that will actually help you use this ability. And of course, it doesn't hurt that it's searchable by the GARP as well. So running these cards. Next, we have a little bit of removal in here. This is Gum Red Rock from OP04. This one costs 6. Main, bottom deck any character. So I recommend use this or Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, or a mix of both, depending on what you personally like. In blue, those two cards are just really solid removal, and once again, searchable by the GARP. Trigger, bottom deck a 4 or less. Man, if this goes off at a 4 cost, that's golden, right? So there you go. One of these. Now I am Whitebeard. I ran this in the starter deck Ace in Newgate, but I didn't run it in this Ace when OP13 came out. I thought it was a little risky. However, tournament decks are running this. I gave it a try and it works out most times than not. ST22, 8 costs. If your leader is Whitebeard types, which it is, play 1 Newgate from your hand. Then you may add the top or bottom to your life to your hand. If you did, your leader gains 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. In this deck, we're running 6 Newgates, so it's not going to be hard to leading up to when you have 8 or 9 to play this. You can really sift and grab the Newgate that you want. Adding the top or bottom to your life is very risky in this deck. You have one or two less life usually than your opponent, so it's that's why I didn't initially want to run it. But a lot of people are doing it because you get 2,000 power, making this an 8,000, which people would argue it stops them from hitting you and losing that 1 life anyway. And the most important thing is it allows you to play a Newgate pretty much 1 turn earlier. If you play on curve, you can get that 9 cost out, you can get that 10 cost out and really do some damage there. So that's why it's in here. Once again, you have 8 in here, but you have some cards that help you grab and draw and sift, etc. So I think even with the drawback of losing a card, the plus 2,000 and adding a Newgate earlier, it's most likely worth it. All right, 2 cards left. Newgate, OP02, 9, 10, 0 on play. Your leader gains 2,000 plus. Then you cannot add cards from your life hand to your from your top of your life to your hand, etc. Let me fix this. Okay, so second ability is with 2 Dawn attached. When this card attacks, KO a 3,000 or less. Really quick, when you play this, it says your leader gets plus 2,000. If you play it regularly with 9 or 10, you're gonna have 8,000. If you play it with this card here, your leader is going to be a plus 8 for here, then a plus 2 from here, making you a 10,000 card until the end of your opponent's turn, which is amazing. However, this ability, you cannot add cards from your life to your hand by your effects. That would be insanely crazy work with this. However, ordering dictates that you must activate this ability first, which is going to be add it here, then add the top. Then this goes off then. So basically all of this, then this goes off. So the protection will not help against this, unfortunately, if you guys are thinking about how it works in that regard. Now, the minus 2,000 attack or less, it's okay. You don't really have a lot of cards in the deck that actually lower cost. So this is primarily here just for removing like a small blocker if you need to attack something at the same time that you want to swing with this. So this is good. Yeah, this is decent to play on curve or with the Whitebeard, but we're only running 2 because this is your game-winning card. Oh, actually, I said last 2 cards. There's 1 more after that. Newgate from OP13, 10, 12, 0, 2 abilities, blocker, 12,000, great. On the turn that you play that, it doesn't really affect the board state. You can't attack with it, so 12,000 blocker, really good. On play, draw 2 trash 1, another with those sifting cards. Then give your leader and up to 1 of your characters up to 2 rested on. So you play this with either the I am Whitebeard, and then boom, you can put 2 more Dawn on Ace, so he attacks for 2,000 more, whatever he is at the time. Then another character on the board, add 2 Dawn, so 4 attached Dawn total with this card out, and then you get to wreak havoc. Then on a future turn, depending on how many cards you have, depending if you want to go for a game or not, you need to really keep track of whether or not you want to swing with 12,000, which is crazy good, or keep it up as a blocker. So this is one of those hard things about piloting, late game decks is, yeah, this is really good, but it's a blocker. What do I do with it? So just keep that in mind. This is super important. This is one of the things you have to master. Of like, by the time you play this, you might be at 1 life, your opponent might be at 2. Is it worth swinging? Is it worth getting them low? I would say always try to get them to 0 life in this deck or any other deck, red deck that you are running these sort of cards in here. Ones that bypass blockers, or better yet, one that ends the game if they use a blocker when they have 0 or you have 0 life. That's my recommendation. Try to get them to 0 as much as possible, and then just, maybe you can wait for one of those cards to show up or go for a game after that. So that's how it works. Searchable by both. You're searching. Amazing. Time for the final card of the deck. This is going to be Goldie Roger from OP09 Daddy. All right, so 10, 13, 0. 1 ability, Rush. two abilities, rush, and when your opponent activates a blocker, if either you or your opponent has 0 life, you win the game. So I did say that maybe you want to add in that 2k Thatch card in the deck, because that allows you to self-hurt in order for you to go to 0. Now, why is that relevant with this deck or with this specific card? If your opponent has 1 life left or whatever, it doesn't matter if you use that Thatch. But however, if you or your opponent have 0 and they activate block, meaning you can throw this on the board and do some attacking, whatever. If your opponent still isn't dead, but you have like 2 more attacks which will help you win the game on a future turn, you want to activate Thatch then to make you at 0. So if they have blockers plus a 1 cost on the board, they have 1 life on the board, they can't activate blocker. You can get a free hit in their face using like a Thatch, which costs 1 plus this. So I can get like a 15,000 attacker in or whatever, and then you can get Goldie Roger or a mix of both or whatever to attack. So that makes it so if they have 5 blockers on the board, it doesn't matter. You are at 0 life thanks to your Thatch, or if maybe if you got hit already. And that's why Thatch is really good. I recommend putting them in. I just didn't print them out at the moments here. So that's it for the deck, searchable by Garp as well. So that is the new and improved Portgas D-Ace deck compared to the first time I made the deck a couple of months ago. This one, I would say absolutely 100% tournament ready. I would add in those Thatches though, for sure. At the expense of probably some of the Josus. But yeah, this is what a lot of people are running, and I think it's a decent one. I do miss a lot of the cards that help you add, random Dons to your leader. But you have the Yamato for that. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Once again, like and sub. It really helps. Let me know what you want me to post next, leader wise. And yeah, go check out the duels where this is featured. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.